We're Chi Alpha Duluth. We're here to discover God and all that He has for us and journey together in our faith.
Yeah, at Chi Alpha Duluth, you can find your closest friends and the community that's perfect for you, and we want to help you find those people.
At Chi Alpha, you can meet Jesus for the first time and just discover all the love that He has for you. Come check it out!
I got something you can't explain. La 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 la. In the metaphysical kind of way. La 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 la. There's something magic inside my veins. La 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 la. No matter what, I'ma do my thing. I'ma do my thing. Can you feel it? We got the moon. 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 Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Hey everyone, what a crazy year it's been. We're so excited that we get to meet in person for life groups. If you don't know what a life group is, get connected to a small group and your leader will tell you when and where your service will be for life groups. We're so excited that you get to be with your friends and grow closer to them and to Jesus.
We're so excited that you're here, and we just want to say a friendly reminder that we need to keep everyone safe during this time, so if everyone can keep their masks on, stay socially distant, and clean up their area after they're done using it tonight. Also, huge thank you to the River for letting us use all of their spaces for the next semester.
Join a small group! We want to encourage you guys to join our small groups. They're meeting online Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights for those of you that are living on campus so that you can join us. Find a time that works for you and the group that you want on xaduluth.org, or follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Follow XA Duluth for everything that's happening.
Feel it? Can you feel it?
Now you guys go.
Yeah!
Yay!
Okay. Hey guys, my name is Kaylee Hechtel and I am studying sales and management and I'm a senior. I'm also a Chi Alpha officer and I am so excited to be with you this year in Chi Alpha. I just wanted to share a little bit of my testimony from these past few months and encouragement for you as we go forward this year. Since COVID has happened, I really took some time to be intentional with God. I was intentional when I started my day to lay down my worries at His feet and lift up my praises to Him. In doing this, I was really able to focus on what He had in my life and put my trust completely in Him and what He was doing in my life. In laying down my worries, I was able to feel the weight lifted off my shoulder from day to day and experience more of God's joy. And also in lifting up my praises to Him, I was able to see what He was doing in my life and experience His joy in that way as well. It has been an incredible, consistent routine that I've been able to implement in my day-to-day routine with God, and just like seeing what He's doing in my life from day in and day out. I just want to encourage you in going forward that God is present in your life where you are right now, and He's with you in the highs and lows. And one verse that I have been reading throughout this time that has really helped me just see that God cares is 1 Peter 5:7, and it reads, "Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you." I just want to encourage you in going forwards this school year that you can lay down all your worries at His feet, and He will bring you joy in everything that you are going through, and He will not give you anything in front of you that is too big for you to handle, because He is strength and love, and He will bring you through anything. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Pastor Dan. I'm so excited that we're back together this fall. It's amazing. You know, at Chi Alpha Duluth, our whole goal is to explore faith, to understand who Jesus was, what he has to show us and how we can respond to that. So we're going to do that today. We're going to look at a passage here in John chapter 9 where Jesus encounters a blind man, and we're going to see the surprising and beautiful ways he reacts. So let's dive in here together. John chapter 9, verses 1 to 12. As Jesus went along, he saw a blind man from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" "Neither this man nor his parents sinned," said Jesus. "But this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world." After saying this, he spit on the ground. He made some mud with the saliva and put it on the man's eyes. "Go," he told him, "wash in the pool of Siloam." This means sent. So the man went and washed and came home seeing. So here we see Jesus and his disciples encounter this man who's been blind his entire life. And because of this disability, he's forced to beg for a living. We might ask the question, why is nobody helping him? Where are his parents? Where are the people who care? We don't really have any answers here. We just see a destitute man. It's a sad situation. It's heartbreaking, really. And the disciples see this. And it's hard for them to reconcile this. In a culture where they believe God was good, it couldn't have been him doing this to the man. So they immediately go to this idea, well, who sinned? This must be somebody's fault. Did this man sin? Did his parents sin? How did he end up in this place? It's just too hard to fathom why this bad thing happened. And I mean, it's understandable. We all face kind of moments like this in our own lives. I mean, my wife and I faced one of these recently. Back in May, our kids were upstairs showering, and I was in the basement watching TV. And all of a sudden I heard this gurgling, and I looked up and I walked over. We have a drain there. And I saw that our sewer was clogged, and slowly water was bubbling up toward the drain of our floor. And I yelled up to my wife, I'm like, "Sarah, the sewer's backing up, turn off the water." And so Sarah quickly hears me. She shuts off the water. She runs downstairs. She's like, "Are we okay?" And we look, and the water's rising, and it stops about 2 inches from the top. And we're like, whew, that was a close call. And so we're sitting there. We're looking at the drain. We're trying to figure out, why the heck is this thing clogged? Well, unbeknownst to us, at this exact moment, our son Jack is upstairs on the toilet going number 2. And all of a sudden, Sarah and I hear this flush, and we look at each other. It was like slow motion. We're like, no. And all of a sudden, the water just comes pouring down the pipes, and we see the water start to rise right out of this drain. And all of a sudden, coming spewing up out of there, there's water, and there's toilet paper, and right after, there's little chunks of turd just comes floating around all over the floor. We're just, oh, it's so nasty, and the smell hits us, and we look at each other like we're already in the midst of a pandemic. Life is crazy. We can't handle this. We're looking up and we're like, why, God? Why did this happen? I mean, yeah, bad stuff happens, and we see this all around us. And let's be real with each other. We're in the middle of a global pandemic here. We've seen our whole lives get shut down. We've been forced to miss all these big events in our life, whether it was graduation, a wedding, a friend's birthday. We haven't been a part of them. And in the worst, some of us have seen sickness in our older family members and even death. It's been a hard thing. And it's difficult to accept even now as we move to fall and we're not sure what school's going to look like. We might become angry. Things are changing all the time. We never know what to expect. And we want to blame somebody. And honestly, that's what most of our country's doing right now. We're pointing our fingers. We're saying, you're the ones who didn't take care of this, and it's your fault that we're here. It's just this blame culture. And if we can't find someone to blame, we're always going to blame God. Well, surely God must not be real, or if he is, he doesn't give a rip about us for us to be in this situation. And let's get even more personal. On top of this pandemic, let's think about what's going on in many of our own lives. We're hurting in so many unique ways. Some of us have friends who we can't see, or maybe somebody hurt us, they abandoned us, or there was some drama and we lost them. Maybe it's someone we live with or we love. Maybe we've been abused or neglected or had some pain there. And we're just feeling alone. I mean, it's ironic. We live in this era of social media, and we have acquaintances all around, but so many of us feel so isolated, so alone, and we ask ourselves a question, am I good enough for anybody around me? And we start looking at ourselves. We might start hating ourselves, becoming depressed. We might start making bad choices to cope with the pain that we feel in the inner place. Maybe we've started to control what we eat or trying to work on our bodies to feel better. Maybe we've been experimenting with substances and trying to feel better. I mean, there's just pain. Let's be real, there's just pain all around us. We're not sure what to do. And we're asking ourselves a question, does God care at all about this situation? And that's what the disciples are kind of pondering, like, who sinned? How could this possibly happen? But then Jesus steps into the scene and he sees this from a totally different perspective. He doesn't kind of get drawn into that blame thing or that what happened here. He just sees a man who's been born blind, who's in pain. And Jesus is not overwhelmed by the pain that this man experiences. Rather, he understands it and he wants to help. You see, Jesus knows who he is. He knows that he hasn't come to judge or point the finger. Rather, Jesus came into the world to heal, to restore, to help human beings in their troubles. And he says this, I am the light of the world. I've come to do the good works of God. So immediately he goes to help this man. But what Jesus does right away, it's pretty strange, okay? So he spits on the ground and then he goes to make mud out of this. Now we have to remember where we are. We're in the middle of the desert. And so it's not like already wet ground. It's completely dry dirt. So for Jesus to make a ball of mud that would stick to a man's eyes, he'd have to load that thing up with spit. So he's like hawking a loogie and just like, I can just hear it, So who knows what this man's thinking? I mean, we find out later he doesn't have any idea who Jesus is. And he hears this man making this spit mud ball, and then he wants to come up to him and rub it on his eyes. And I don't know. If it were me, I'd be like, bro, get away from me with that creepy mud, spit, whatever you got going on. But rather than that, this blind man, he accepts it. He just humbly allows Jesus to rub this on his eyes. And the question is why? Why does he just accept this really odd thing? And I don't know for sure, but I think it's because he's been in pain for a long time. He's been suffering. And that suffering and pain has kind of made him more open and vulnerable and willing. And I also think when he hears the voice of Jesus, when he senses something, he senses the good presence around him and he's open. He wants to experience something. I think we've all kind of felt those tugs on our heart when something beautiful is about to happen. And it doesn't end with just this spitball that he rubs on his eyes. Jesus starts giving him more. He says, now you need to go and wash this off in the pool of Siloam. And amazingly, he doesn't question this or be like, who are you, dude, telling me what to do? He just simply obeys. And I wonder, could this happen in our culture today? I mean, we don't like anybody to tell us anything, right? I mean, if someone said, hey, I think if you did this, it might help you. We're usually like, well, I hear what you're saying, and that probably would be good, but I just feel like that's not for me. But for this man, he simply obeys. He goes and washes in the pool, and he comes back, and he's healed. And to me, it raises some challenging questions, which I want us to ask ourselves right now. The first one is this. What if, in the middle of this pandemic, in the middle of this challenging time, what if God really wants to do something incredible in our lives, but we're too stuck in our anger and frustration and our circumstances to let him in? What if we are too stubborn and too independent to actually listen when God calls us to make a change? And I have another, maybe even more challenging question. What if God might allow the pain we are experiencing in our lives because he knows it's the only thing that will humble us and make us vulnerable enough to actually respond when God starts working in our lives? Something to chew on, right? So here we are. I mean, life's literally crazy. Our world's upside down. We're in the middle of this pandemic. There's racism, protests, riots going on the streets. There's climate change happening. We're having hurricanes that are stronger than ever before. Fires in California, bigger than they've ever been. Things are a mess. Let's be real about it. And inside of many of us, I mean, statistics are showing that anxiety and depression are skyrocketing among young people. It's hurting, and maybe some of you are hurting right now too. But there's two responses we can have. We can either be like the disciples and just get stuck in this Whose fault is it? Who do I blame? Why could this have possibly happened to me? Or like the man who was born blind, we can humble ourselves and allow God to touch us, to see that Jesus was sent to help us right where we're at. He said Jesus came to help human beings right in the midst of their pain and suffering. Will we be open and vulnerable enough to let him in? You see, this Jesus, he's incredible. Have you ever read about him? I read the stories of the gospel and I see the way he loves people, the way he teaches, the way he interacts, and obviously what he did for us on the cross. And I'm just drawn to this man. And I want to say, what would happen if we open ourselves up to exploring who this person was, who this Jesus was, and what he might have to speak into our lives today? And that's what Alpha Duluth is all about. We want to explore the deepest questions in life together. Our tagline is we're here to discover God and to journey together in faith. So I want to invite you all to do that. And tonight is awesome. We're launching these life groups. And this is a place where we can, together in groups, ask these deep questions. So right now, if you're in your life group, I want to help us to challenge us in two ways. The first one is let's really begin to read about Jesus and begin to talk about him and to open ourselves up to this question. How might God be trying to meet us in the present moment? As we look at Jesus interacting with people, how does he want to interact with us right now in the pain and the circumstances we're in? So I want to invite you to ask that question. Think about a story of Jesus or interact with this story and ask the question, how is God trying to meet me in a similar way? And I really want to invite you all to begin to be open and vulnerable. Don't just talk about the surface level stuff. Share with the people around you about what God might really want to do in your life. Thanks, guys. Have a great week. God bless.